Hey guys, Paul Pluta on the Paul Pluta channel. We're doing a paid review. This is for Joey. Okie dokie. This is a paid review, 20A14 quick wristwatch. Check. What am I wearing? JJ Reverso Grande. I love this piece. It's just a cool. I love it. Steel stunner. It's just beautiful. I love it. Okay, let's do Joey's review. Hello, Archie. I hope you are well in these special times. Hope my little contribution could help. This is a paid review for my newly acquired vintage Longines mono pusher flyback chronograph and my updated collection method. What is showed in the photo is a flyback chronograph made by Longines in the 40s in a yellow gold case. The center hand in the chronograph and the hand in the 6 subdial is the pusher is the 2 o'clock is used to hammer the chronograph hands back into place and time things. The watch is a little bit small, only 31 mil, but it is 1940s. Patek 96 was about the same size. Nevertheless, I really enjoy it. And it's a beautiful thing, interesting thing in the function and dial. Those Breguet numerals, leaf hands, silver dial, makes me happy every time I look at it. The movement is rather interesting because it's a modular chronograph that is based on Longines caliber 12.68Z with the chronograph module added to it. The finishing on the movement is okay, similar to the Omega of the same period. This is not a very common watch, but not many were made. I could not find another same example on the internet. However, I was able to find the original catalog image, which dates back to 1941. On the dial, the word patent is applied, and the chronograph bridge, the brevet, French for patent, was engraved. I guess that's what they mean in-house back in the 40s. This is my first Longines and first chronograph. I paid a little less than the 600 US for the watch. Also, I'm 23 years old, self-quarantined in the US. I've been very interested in vintage watches. I think there is a little more bang per buck on the vintage side. To give you an idea of how this Longines sets in my collection, I have an IWC caliber 89, the coolest thing to find to a Patek 570, an Omega Seamaster, very interesting dial design, a Nomos reference 1101, another very interesting modern beater, but it is not the worst thing in life. Thank you for your patience. Hope you stay healthy, Joey. So there we have it. It's a bit of a interesting mix here. This is an interesting mix. So I gotta tell you, man, it's good to see somebody trying the vintage soup. Vintage is hard. So many things in, Rolex vintage, it's difficult because so many watchmakers have looked at it, they fuck things up. It's really difficult, and I gotta be honest with you, it is difficult. Now I gotta tell you, you paid $600 US, and you've got to remember, with Longines themselves, they were highly regarded in that time period there. They were like Rolex is today. It's a bit like Chrysler. Chrysler was like an American Mercedes-Benz. Now Chrysler makes fucking garbage. That's a bit with Longines. They kind of make garbage in many ways there. But this is a vintage piece, and I've got to tell you, it looks remarkably, it looks really nice. Really nice there. The dial seems very clean. I'm not sure if that was repainted or I'm not an expert on Longines dials themselves there, but it really looks like a nice, honest example, and that's all any of us can really hope for. The movement is nice and clean. It's beautifully done. I don't have a problem with any of that stuff. I don't think any of that is bad stuff. And I've got to be honest with you there, man. A lot of a lot of these vintage pieces here, they are a minefield. Minefield. But look, for 600 bucks, how can you really go terribly wrong there? That's I got a friend who actually collects very expensive Longines. He collects the Longines Lindberghs. That's the aviation washers. They were instruments, and if they got it wrong, you could die. These were serious instruments, and they are mega money. So I've got to be honest with you. I quite look. They are interesting things to have. I don't see a problem with it at all. I think it's very cool piece to have in your collection. The size is a small little piece, but hey, that was the time period there, and it's a vintage, very vintage. It's a gorgeous piece to have there. So I think for 600 bucks, can you really go wrong for $600? I mean, really, is that terrible? Interestingly enough, you've got your dad has got quite a amazing collection. He's got a few really expensive pieces there, and that's really good. That's really good. And I gotta say, the mono pusher, very interesting. That's a really cool thing to have on a chronograph. It's very cool. Look, there's these early chronographs, manual wind chronographs like that. I think, you know, you can take a bit of a punt and see how you go there. I mean, 600 US is nothing really. That's not a lot of money. Beautiful movement. I mean, hey, it is what it is there. I mean, they're a absolutely no waterproofing, anything like that, of course, but you know, that kind of it's not the point there. And you've got an interesting collection there. I quite like the vintage flavor. You've got the Omega Seamaster, very interesting dial design with the points there. You've got an IWC caliber 89. See that movement in the caliber 89, absolutely legendary. And now you've got the Longines mono pusher. There's potential, very much potential in that. So I think that's a beautiful little vintage collection to have there. You've got to float your boat. You've got to buy things that, I mean, when you look at, I love that picture you sent me, the three watches together. It's a cool little collection. It's a cool little, I mean, these are delicate little things. You can't wear them everywhere, but there's a lot of charm and beauty to them. Vintage is a bit of a minefield. I've always how have I felt with vintage? Look, vintage is cool. Vintage is cool. Yeah, I've always loved vintage. The problem is, being in Brisbane here, we can't get much fucking good vintage. I mean, come on, we're in one of the, you know, we're a bush town. We're a bush town. It's hard to get that. But I mean, I got to be honest with you. That's a lovely little Longines on your wrist there to have. Lovely Arabics, just beautifully done. 600 bucks, man. How could you? That's a really cool thing to have there. And I think honestly, you just got to add little pieces like that. That's cool. It's very cool. Very cool. Very Longines. They were a super well-respected brand. Now they kind of churn out too much stuff. But the thing is, the Chinese love Longines. They're huge buyers of Longines. So I don't think you have a problem selling that. I think down the track, it's got scope. It's mono pusher is fucking cool. I love a mono pusher. It's It tells the story. This was made during World War II. World War II in the 40s. I mean, but they weren't churning out much stuff then. I mean, the things were pretty damn hard. They were very hard. So, very rare piece there. I think you've done okay. I'm not an expert in vintage, but I mean, let's be honest there. $600. It's a gold case. How can you really go wrong with that at all? It's lovely, lovely vintage set there. I don't see any problems with that at all. I don't see any problems at all there. Vintage is cool. It's cool as fuck there. Man, I think it's okay buying it. You didn't put a fortune into it. It's fine. I mean, I think you got a nice little collection. It's interesting. You got a Longines, you got an IWC, and you got an Amiga, and you've also got the Nomos. The Nomos, it's a modern beta. It's not the worst. No, it's not. The Nomos isn't terrible. It's kind of funky design, you know. And I can get that with your thread here, you know. I can get the thing there. I think it's fine. I think it's a great little piece to have there. It's cool. It's very cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Vintage is very cool. Very cool. So yeah, no. I don't see anything wrong with that. That's an interesting piece. What do I think is a collection? I think it's great. Get a bit of vintage. Vintage is okay. You just got to be patient. You got to be patient, and you've got to. If you buy them, like that's not a lot of money. $600 is nothing. I'd paid that much for a Patek strap. You know what I mean? So for a fully functioning watch, I mean, hey, that's with a gold case, isn't it? Gold case, yellow gold case. Yep. Well, I mean, hey, you can't really do much wrong with that, can you? I mean, that's good buying. It's cool. I found vintage hard. I got to be honest with you. I personally, you know, the problem with vintage is every fucking watchmaker has butchered things and changed bits, and that's kind of the hard thing. And especially with the Rolex, there's so much dodgy things going on. They'll swap things out, and you know, the Frankens, that's kind of the problem. But if you buy things cheap enough, why would they Franken that when it's $600? That's you know, it's a pittance. And I mean, that's a really cool little watch. I like your little set there. It's a nice set. I would probably, if you've got a smaller wrist there, I would seriously, my own opinion is, I would possibly get something like a Patek 3919, some Vacherons. They had some amazing if you've got a smaller wrist, the Audemars Piguet from the 60s and 70s, ultra thin and really cheap, and they're fucking beautiful. My mistake, I must share this with you. I got a Vacheron 6405, so it's a 33 mil manual wine little Vacheron. I got it from Shawnee in European Watch Gallery in Melbourne, and I love that. And I thought, you know what, I want to get an AP to go with it, you know, to have, because I had my Patek 5107. And I had the 6405 Vacheron, 33 mil. So I went online and I bought the cheapest. And the problem was I got one that was really over polished, and it was kind of little bit of water damage. And if I had to spend, I only paid, I think, $1,300 for it. If I would have spent double that money, I would have got a nice one. And I think with when you're buying vintage, get the best one you can afford. Try and stay away from redone dials. I mean, redone dials doesn't mean it's worth nothing. But it hurts it a lot. It hurts it a lot. I reckon your little collection there, I'd probably I'd probably get a paddock 39.19. See, they're under 10 US. They're under 10. They're a great watch. So that's how I'd pad out the collection. I'd probably get an AP 33 mil. They're fucking cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. And I'd probably get a Vacheron. They're just cheap, you know. They're not expensive, and they got to go up. I mean, if you're buying a haute horology piece for pennies in the dollar like that, they've got huge potential. Okay, I know they're a little bit small, but that's kind of... See, where they're trying to be fraudulent is in the Rolex, the fucking Rolex sports, because there's so much money to fucking sell things that are fucked with. See, there's so much money if you do that. But these Vacherons and APs and VCs at that end there, they don't fucking cheat with that, because they're not worth much. And you could really clean out that market there. You're a young guy. What are you? You're 30. What are you? 30? Did you tell me your age? I can't remember. Oh yeah, you did. I'm 23. 23. You could build a really... You could buy these things that people don't want, and years later, they got to have upside. They've got to have upside. Admittedly, the Patek's, anything Patek is expensive, but Vacheron, they were the same price as Patek when they were fucking new in the 60s. So my general rule with vintage is you should really get a good independent watchmaker, because you can't send it to Longines. They have no fucking idea. That's like taking a Gullwing Mercedes to a new Mercedes dealer. He'd have no fucking idea how to do anything, because he works on modern stuff. He doesn't work on the vintage. So you've got to get a really good watchmaker, preferably an old guy with grey hair. Okay. The next thing you need to do is you want to... The most important thing is you want to get condition, especially original dial. Redialed really hurts it. Really hurts it. And they used to semi-redial. They could bleach them. You don't want that. You'd rather it dirty, believe you me. You want it authentic, not... It's like a gun, a vintage gun. The worst thing you can do with a vintage gun, I'm not a gun expert, but is polish the fucking thing. You want to leave it. That's what, you know. And people don't quite realize they fuck it up because they don't know. And I think vintage, that smaller vintage stuff, I mean, fuck, a mono pusher manual one chronograph. It's a flyback chronograph made by Longines. Flyback mono, what a fucking cool thing. It's not a bad thing. So that's what I do. I mean, this hobby, you got to buy what you like. Okay, you got to be an individual. What do you like? And I love vintage. Vintage is cool. Vintage is cool. I haven't gone there. Why haven't I gone there? Well, I mean, I'm in Brisbane for starters, and I kind of collect classic. It's not vintage. See, like I've got some Patek's 90s and early 2000. That's now 20 years old. See, so that's more classic. A couple models out of date, and I kind of can relate to them. That's what I like them. But vintage can be cool. Vintage can be cool. Okay, thank you for showing that to us. Lovely collection. I hope you got some points out of that there. Is there any points I could give you? But I love it. I love it. I love it. I do love it. So guys, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Don't be afraid to put a few comments below. And remember guys, paid reviews is what keeps me here. If there were no paid reviews, I couldn't survive on the Google ads. $50 US for a review, and this guy here, he sent me 35. Okay, I did him a discount because he's only young, he's corona isolated, everything's gone to shit. You know, just trying to help him out, cheer the little guy up, and that's what I like to do. I like to bring joy into people's lives. That's what I like to do. Bring joy into people's lives. So, guys, I'm Paul Pluta. It's been a paid review for the channel. Tell me what you think. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Hi guys, ArchieLuxury, and who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW, David SW, David SW.
Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Mark Goldberg for ArchieLuxury AC3, the Pontiff, Satan Deville. I want to sincerely thank you for having sat through this video because I know it was awful, but you know what? You do it for the greater good of humanity. Thank you so much. Now, a couple of quick pieces of homework. Now that you've watched this video, I would like you to hit thumbs up. If you must, hit thumbs down, but if you'd hit thumbs up, I would especially appreciate it. Go ahead and leave a really nasty comment and tell him how awful this content was, but most importantly of all, the entire reason that I am linking up with ArchieLuxury in the first place. I am a published author. Let dogs be dogs. Available in bookstores, Amazon, and electronically somewhere near you. Remember, ArchieLuxury. He's not just a figment of your imagination.